morning and welcome to the second session of the Oklahoma Education Industry Partnership, or OEIP, Summer Series. Good morning, and on behalf of the Oklahoma Department of Career Tech and our State Director, Dr. Marcy Mack, we welcome you. My name is Kara Pattison, and I am a Career Tech Regional Coordinator. As a Regional Coordinator, I work with the field by serving as a liaison between the state agency and school administrators across Oklahoma. At this time, I would like to introduce our OEIP team members. Gina Hubbard, the Education Partnership and Customized Services Division Manager, who's not present, she is on vacation, that lucky dog, as well as my fellow regional coordinators, Karen Talbot, please wave when I say your name, Karen Talbot, Whitney Blaylock, Delbo Leach, and Patrick Clannon. In addition, we have Regional Coordinator Lori Loffer on here today. Are there any other regional coordinators I missed? Okay. If this is your first OEIP experience, we welcome you. Because we are hosting in-person events this summer, this session will be our only virtual event until the fall. Please see the link that Karen put in the chat for more information about our OEIP Summer Series. In addition, we will email more information about these future events to you after today's session ends. For those that love our virtual OEIP sessions, we will continue our monthly online sessions in the fall after school begins. If you've missed out on the previous virtual OEIP sessions this year, please visit our OEIP YouTube station. Karen pasted the YouTube web link in the chat, and it contains recordings of past sessions. Our goal is to provide insight for educators to better understand what industry needs are in Oklahoma. In turn, our OEIP educators can use this information to introduce and prepare students for a career pathway towards personal success. Today's session will be posted on our OEIP YouTube channel within the next week. I would like to add that we could not host events like today's without our sponsors, and I would like to extend a special thank you to them. Whitney is going to share a sponsor slide here in a second. Thank you. Their names are now listed on your screen and include Tech Labs, ML Jones, the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance, the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, Flintco, the Associated General Contractors of Oklahoma, InfoTech Incorporated, and the Oklahoma Business Roundtable. Thanks to them, 2 registered participants today will be the lucky winner of a $50 gift card. And now, before you get to know our speakers, let's tell them a little bit about ourselves. Whitney has shared a blank PowerPoint slide with us. On it, I'd like for you to tell us what your current job title is. To do this, please mouse up to the View Options box at the top, click on the arrow, click on Annotate, and select Text. So View Options, click on the arrow, click on Annotate, and select Text. On the blank screen, type in your position. Okay. I see we have a variety of educators on here today, ranging from consultant, a safety consultant, federal programs, director of instruction, leadership and professional development, college and career advisor, business development. And we all have one goal in common, preparing students for success in the workforce. And speaking of, let's learn from our friends in the construction industry. Before I introduce them, I ask that if you have questions during their presentations, please put them in the chat or take note to ask at the end. Also, I will share speakers' contact information via email after today's event has ended. Our first guest speaker will be from our guest partner, the Associated General Contractors of Oklahoma. I'd like to now show this short video. I'd like to now show this short video that does a great overview of the positive things the Associated General Contractors of Oklahoma does.
Today we had a classroom of 20 high schoolers from Capitol Hill High School come from Junior Achievement as part of a job shadow program, Introduction to Construction. There is a significant workforce shortage occurring in construction and other similar industries that require people to work with their hands. There's not people that are coming into the trade to go be plumbers and go be electricians and go do the actual work that it takes to build a building. So it's really important to us that we introduce high schoolers, young people that are graduating high school to the construction trades, let them know about the opportunities, the career opportunities that they may not have known about otherwise.
Thank you, Whitney, for sharing that video. What an inspiring video. And I'm pleased to introduce to you the narrator of that video, Jaclynn Gray. Jacqueline is the Education Manager for the AGCOK's Education Foundation, as well as a National Center for Construction Education and Research Master Trainer. Wow. Her education experience includes a bachelor's degree in mass communications and an equine business and facility management degree. She has been with the AGCOK for a year and a half and thoroughly enjoys being an advocate for the commercial construction industry and helping the workforce in Oklahoma. When not working, you can find her out at the barn with her horses and dog, at a horse show, or cheering on her Sooners at a game. She's going to tell us today about a very informative website called BuildOKStrong. Jacqueline, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jaclynn Gray, like she said, with the AGC of Oklahoma. I am representing our office today, and I first want to say thank you for joining in and registering on this call, and thank you to our member companies that are also the presenters after me for taking the opportunity to kind of explain what their needs are and how impactful we believe the commercial construction industry is in the state of Oklahoma, and the many facets that your students, people that you know, could get in this industry. Before I dive into BuildOKStrong, I'm going to let Whitney play just a quick 30-second teaser about this website, and then we'll get going.
Up until now, finding skilled labor in Oklahoma has been hard. Dealing with resumes and middlemen has left you frustrated and short-handed. We're building a better way. Now, there's a fast way to find skilled labor for construction projects. Now, there's an easy way to find the training needed for these skilled jobs. Now, there's a way we can build OK Strong.
Awesome. Okay. I will share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Yes, perfect. Okay. So I am tasked with here at the AGC of Oklahoma. I oversee our Workforce Development Committee. That this is kind of something new in the last year and a half in my role. It's something I've discovered I have a huge passion for. And I believe that there's not enough advocates out there celebrating the trade, skilled trade laborers. And so I take great pride and joy in the opportunity to get to work for the AGC and help enhance our workforce for our members. And so we represent over $2 billion worth of work between all of our members every year. We do lobbyist efforts, but the workforce has been a huge task that our executive board of directors has tasked us with in the office to kind of help promote our industry. So the University of Oklahoma and our Workforce Development Committee partnered up about 2 years ago to think about creating a website that is strictly industry-based with strictly Oklahoma industry-based numbers. So we partnered with a great number of people to create this website. So I ask you, I will send out emails after this as well, but go ahead and take down BuildOKStrong.com. We have just recently launched this just a couple weeks ago. It's in its, step one of marketing and getting this out to our members and to the public. But this is a great website for students. As you can kind of see here on our home screen, it kind of talks about our different tabs where we have the careers, training, and job board, and I'll kind of dive into that and talk to you about how your students can benefit from this once we get in a little bit. But just so you can kind of see the homepage of this, and if I get going too fast or if my computer's not going as quickly as I'm speaking, just unmute. Someone can unmute and let me know. But this was provided by the leading construction association in the state of Oklahoma, which is the AGC of Oklahoma. BuildOKStrong is dedicated to connecting Oklahomans with skilled training and quality career opportunities in the construction industry. I get the great opportunity to be with members as often as I can, sometimes weekly, and that's the center focus is how do we get people in our industry? How do we get people excited about this industry? How do we get people educated to tell them that this is a great career that provides longevity? It's a great paying career. You get benefits. It's not just getting your hands and feet dirty. There's a lot of corporate opportunities. There's so many facets to it. So the Workforce Development Committee and the University of Oklahoma's engineering department kind of came up with this website saying we needed a central hub. So we kind of put in some statistics in here. Unfortunately, that number on the far left that says 193,000 plus, that's gone up quite a bit since we've coming out of COVID. But this just goes to show you that this is a booming career opportunity. There are endless amount of jobs within the Oklahoma construction industry. And you can see here, 47, the average age of a construction worker is 47. Well, we need a lot more younger people to come in this industry and take advantage of learning from these gentlemen and women that are 47 years of age so they can have a long career job outlook. Women, obviously, I'm proud to be a woman representing the construction industry. Women in the construction industry is in high demand. And then it has a 70% job outlook over the next 10 years, which is also a great thing, especially coming out of COVID. And then, your average salary, $53,000. That's qualified skilled worker in Oklahoma. That's about the average that we've taken. So, lots of students, how much money can I make? What can I get? Well, there's a pretty good average right there. So let's dive in a little bit and talk about the careers as it loads. So as you can see here, you go in and we have a bunch of different careers if you have students interested. And if you have students that maybe they're not built or made to go to higher ed, but they want to go to a career tech or they don't really know, please have them reach out to the AGC. We would be more than happy to connect them with a member company. With us, we can provide resources and kind of explain to them in more depth what these careers do. But brief overview, there's all different types of job careers that someone can go into, whether they do not all require a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. There's a lot of people in the construction industry that just have a GED or a high school diploma, and they are highly successful people. So the cool part about this website is let's go up to HVAC. So if we click on HVAC and your students on this website, slowly loading, it's going to show them what the job outlook looks like through 2026. So 8.7%, that's okay. Average hourly income, now that's pretty impressive, and their average salary. It talks about the description of the career if it's new to them. It talks about what kind of training needs to be done. And then my favorite part about our website is it lists all of our training centers in Oklahoma that offer training on this specific career. And then if there were job openings looking for HVAC, they would pop up right here. Kind of goes in, we put a little graph on what your pay would look like and your net gain on a 20-year comparison. We really took the time to really try to educate people as much as we can on this industry and how successful one could be. So that's probably my favorite part on all the careers. So it does that on every career. Then if we hit the training tab, you're probably going to see some of your career techs on this. We have the state of Oklahoma here. So if you have a student and they're like, oh, I live in Southeast Oklahoma, they'll just touch on that Southeast side. And it's going to list our Southeast Oklahoma technical centers to where they can go and get training. They can reach out to these career tech centers and say, hey, I'm interested in construction. What are your classes? And this is all that's available for them in that area. So I would encourage, who's familiar with LinkedIn? I can only see a few places, but raise your hand if you're familiar with LinkedIn. Okay. Love LinkedIn. Obviously, that's a professional social media platform. I don't want to say this operates like LinkedIn, but I'm going to compare it to. It allows companies like Manhattan, or we're hearing from Jody later from Flintco. Flintco has a company website on BuildOKStrong. They've listed all of their job openings. And if you have a student in your classroom that has uploaded their profile where they can go in and upload a headshot, it has a resume builder in it. It can list keywords. And let's say you have a student who is, he's worked painting, I don't know, say grocery stores in his town over the summer, and he's worked a little bit electrical. He can tag all of these things that he has skills in. And if Flintco checks any of those boxes, it's going to match Flintco with this student and give them their contact information. And Flintco will be able to reach out directly to them, whoever's orchestrating this part on Flintco. So that's kind of our point. Our whole goal for this website was to take out the middleman and take out the gap. We hear from our members and from our lobbyists and everybody that we need to bridge the gap for skilled labor. And so why not take out that middleman and just mark it up to where if you select, I can paint, I can do electrical, I can do masonry, I can do whatever it is. And then anything that's open in a job, you guys both selected. It's kind of like, I guess, speed dating. We could say it's going to match you up to this person. And so then you have your job board. And so I would definitely task you guys today that have registered for this. Obviously, there's some type of interest. This is open and this is ready. We are in the process now of asking students and community, and it's not just students, it's adults, it's military people that have come back, it's somebody looking for a career change. Encourage them to go fill out a profile on here. It can upload a headshot, it builds it for them. It really is a really great detailed basically into building a really high quality profile that they don't have to go and make something in Word, make something in a PDF. It does it all right here for them. And then they can check what they want their notifications to be. They can say, I want to be notified when there's a job with bricklaying. And then when there is one, they're going to get an email saying, ML Jones posted a job for drywall or masonry or whatever. So I just wanted to take a couple minutes and touch on this subject of our website and present this to you and hope that you guys would join us in encouraging your students to utilize this as a tool. I know that we're out for summer, but this is a great option. So I guess if we have any questions, I can take any questions. Nope. Okay, well, I will drop the link in the chat and I will unshare my screen, and I thank you guys for your time.
I think I'd like my son to hop on that website, Jacqueline.
Yes, please, please. I'm trying to. Okay, there we go.
Are you trying to unshare the screen?
Yeah, there we go. It was just sitting there thinking. Okay. Okay, it should have unshared now. All right. So now, after that, again, thank you guys for that. And we'll move right on into Paullei Tanner, who is with ML Jones. Paullei Tanner is the Contract Human Resources Administrator with Tulsa's ML Jones LLC. Paullei Tanner has over 30 years of construction industry experience. Paullei has held several positions within the industry, including project coordinator, project engineer, assistant project manager before moving into operations with ML Jones. Paullei is active with several professional organizations, including the AGC of Oklahoma, American Subcontractors Association, and the National Association of Women in Construction. I definitely just want to make a little note here. If you have students and they're women and they're interested in this, do the little acronym NAWIC, NAWIC, and reach out to me and I can fill you up with resources on women in construction. She's currently serving on the Workforce Development Committee with the AGC of Oklahoma. She's also on the board for ASA, plus she's a director and the president-elect for NAWIC, National Women in Construction. Additionally, Paullei serves on the Tulsa Tech Carpentry Program Advisory Committee and the Tri-County Technology Center Construction Program Committee. For relaxation, Paullei can be found kayaking, catching a live performing art show, visiting a museum, or socializing with friends and family. Today, Paullei with ML Jones is going to tell us why a career in construction industry might just be a great fit for your students. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over the floor to Ms. Paullei Tanner.
Thank you. I actually see some familiar faces. Lakeisha Jackson with Union High School, and I will get with you at the very end. And Jason Murphy with Tri-County. I see his photo, but not Jason. So hello to you too. It's so nice to see you here. I'm going to share my screen. All right. I want to take a few minutes to share what this building is. And if any of you are in southeastern Oklahoma, you may recognize this as the Choctaw Durant Casino Hotel expansion. And this building is unique for several reasons. One, it is the first project with stove panel technology, exterior envelope systems in the state of Oklahoma. ML Jones holds the license for stove panel technology. And what that is, it is a prefabricated exterior envelope system that we manufacture in our Tulsa facility. We ship to the job site and we install it with a crane. This came about because of the labor shortage. This building would have taken normally approximately 3+ years to build. And from dirt to completion, it's been 2 years. Another unique feature is the small footprint with the high rise. And that was done because of the exterior envelope system. It reduced the cost of the concrete that was required. It reduced the scaffolding cost, and it also reduced safety hazards associated with scaffolding. Another unique feature of this is that these panels that you're seeing here on this end, that's just what we did with these panels. It was installed, conventional construction methods would require a crew of 60 men, women on scaffolding to do this. And we did this with a crew of 6 and a crane. And most of these panels were set at night. Another unique feature of this is with prefab, these panels are fabricated within 1/8 inch of the dimension specifications. You do not get that kind of quality control with conventional construction methods. So you do get an increased quality, and you also get an extended warranty that conventional construction methods cannot provide. All of this comes relevant as we go through the screen. You'll pick up bits and pieces of why. So as previously discussed, there is a vast labor shortage in the construction industry Across the nation, the average age is 56, with these baby boomers retiring in 5 to 15 years. We need 10 million workers, skilled workers in the construction industry now, and that is going to increase. Construction offers careers that pay great. They offer benefits, and it's a career path to move up within a company and increase your earning potential. And skilled labor is the missing link. Without skilled labor, construction costs are going to continue to rise, and they're going to continue to be delayed. Every single one of your high school students could find a career in construction, and we would still have a labor shortage. So we really need to partner with the educators and prepare for this gap so that we can minimize it. So when I was in high school, I used to think of construction as the manual ditch diggers making minimum wage. How many of you can relate to that image? Today, it's different. Dirt's moved with skilled tradesmen operating climate-controlled excavators making $40,000 to $85,000 annually. And that $85,000, that is a real number. I know several friends that are excavating operators, and that is, they make that or more, along with benefits and bonuses. And your students that are gamers, they may have that skill set that would make them perfect for this. And we've talked about bachelor's, college, or working in the field. It doesn't have to be either or, it can be both. And here it shows you a career pathway from high school graduation. You can get on-the-job training, or you can enter an apprenticeship program, which will also give you on-the-job training, or you can go to a community college, and you can move on down. At any point in time, you can enhance your career pathway by taking courses and getting certifications, or taking online classes and going ahead and working towards that degree, and you can move up the chain. And these numbers here, these are real numbers. I've talked to several people, and this $160K for senior project management on large projects is attainable. And here's a survey from 2018. So I want you to take a look at these numbers here, these salaries, and think of what else changed in our country since then, and how much more everything is. So you know that these wages here are even more on track. So you can make a decent living in construction. And it's not just manual labor, skilled labor that we're looking for. We have positions in every aspect of construction. Most of them do not require a college education, but some will. And this is just a sampling. There's so many more than that. Now, this section over here, your interior designer, your architect, and your engineering, those are going to require degrees. Your BIM manager, they can either go through a college program, or they can go through technical school and get some of the skills and certifications that they're going to need. And construction technology careers, if you've got a student that displays a talent or has a desire to go into computer industry, construction technology industry is a rapid growing sector. With that, you have your software. I'm sorry, guys, I've lost my place here. Give me a moment. Estimating softwares, online plan rooms, your BIM technology, 3D printing, drones, and robotics are all part of construction technology. And just to give you kind of a little overview of what BIM information modeling is, if you think about on TV where a show will pop up an image of a 3D building in virtual design and they're rotating it around, that's what a little bit of BIM information modeling is. It brings all aspects of the process together, as you can see here. And 3D printing, it's most everybody's heard of 3D printing or seen it. But this top part here, this is an actual 3D printer that is shooting out concrete, forming the walls of a building. So we're actually doing 3D printing and building buildings. And then down here is a architect's model. And those days of the foam core models is fading away into the sunset. Another part of construction technology is exoskeletons. Construction does wear and tear on the body, and technology is helping us prolong the construction worker's lifespan and help reduce risk of injury. And this is just kind of an overview of what some of that would look like. Inclusivity and diversity in the construction industry. And across the board, throughout the country, the climate's changing to where we are becoming more neutral in our hiring practices. We're looking at skills, aptitude, and work ethic, and that is how it should be. The AGC has, they've really embraced diversity in their membership, and they promote it throughout their in everything that they do. And women in construction. As it was mentioned previously, women are in high demand in construction. And in other industries across the nation, women make 81.1% of their male counterparts. In construction, women are earning 99.1% of what men make. So when you're looking at the women in your classrooms, please think of them in a role in construction in some format, because they will earn their worth. And some of you with ADHD students, a career in construction may be a good choice. It may be the right fit, because there's certain options out there. There's certain career paths and that ADHD students kind of excel at. So there again, diversity and inclusivity in the construction industry. For me, and for a lot of the people I know in construction, it's a pride and job well done. This construction workers make a difference. We build places. We build your workplaces, your homes, your churches, your hospitals, your recreational facilities. And you can ask any construction worker and they're going to tell you the projects that meant the most to them. For me, there's one on here, the Gathering Place. It's an award-winning park in Tulsa. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. And that was an ML Jones project. And it was my last project to do as project engineer before I moved 100% over to operations. I can think back to the Oklahoma City Children's Zoo as when I was in Oklahoma City working for Downey Contracting. That was another one that was just really important to me, because it makes a difference in people's lives. And when you look back, a piece of you stays with that, and you take a piece of it with you. And so there is pride in job well done. And it is something that I think at the end of the day, it's more than a paycheck. It is about making a difference in our communities. And classrooms can pave the way. Bringing industry partners in and having them talk to your students, having them interact, whether you do a virtual job site tour, if you can actually get them on a job site, makes a difference. It gives them an opportunity to ask questions, and it gives them an opportunity to explore what if. what's out there? How much can I make? How far can I go? What are my limitations? And it makes a difference. It really does when you bring industry partners in and have them have one-on-ones with your students to where they can open the door to a career opportunity. And the benefits of these industry education partnerships is we are creating connections so that your students are seeing professionals and they're hearing real life stories. They're hearing what real opportunities are. And we're increasing, increased interest in hands-on learning. The Oklahoma ICAP program has really made a difference. Some industry partners offer high school internships, and these are paid internships usually. And pipeline of talent. If we start educating our high school students at a young age that careers in construction is an option, they're going to start thinking of that. And by the time they graduate from high school, they may have already established themselves within a company and a trade and created a pathway for them to be a high earner with a solid career ahead of them. And the high school internships, I do want to talk about that because until recently, most insurance companies would not provide workers' compensation insurance to construction workers under the age of 18. That trend is changing, and some insurance carriers now will allow for the 16-plus-year-olds. And high school internships offer an opportunity for students to gain hands-on experience. We have four high school interns from Union Public Schools. Lakeisha Jackson and I have worked to get that to happen, and here we see two of them. This one up here is actually working with some computer data entry in our prefab shop. And down here at the bottom, I think that your screen's going to not show the other one, but she is doing weather barrier, and she's being instructed by one of our ML Jones employees on how to do that. And when I talked about inclusivity and diversity, this right here really showcases it because I have two female interns that, from what I understand from my manager over there, they are towing it line by line with their counterparts. They are actually excelling and doing quite well over there. So I look forward to having more female interns and more high school interns overall. And the gentleman that is instructing the female intern on the weather barrier, as you can see, he does have one arm that is missing. So just because they have some physical or other limitations does not exclude them from a career in construction. And that is all I have on that. So when these students leave or after graduation, let me go back. When they start high school, their senior year this fall, they will be in a construction program at Union Public Schools. I believe this is the first year, Lakeisha, for your construction program, or is it the second year?
I'm sorry, you called me right when I was drinking my breakfast. This is my breakfast. It's 11 o'clock. I'm so behind.
Is this your first year or second year?
Actually, this is my first year here with Union. And so they've had the program already. And so in previous years, they worked with Crossland and Flintco. And so we just added you as well, ML Jones as well this year. So we're excited. So I'm excited to hear.
So when the students go back to school, they will continue to work part-time for our company. At the end of the year, when they graduate, they'll have a year of solid experience. And if they decide to stay with ML Jones after graduation, they'll enter our DOL approved apprenticeship program. And if they decide to take other career, explore other career options, they're going to have with them a solid year of work experience and an atmosphere that promotes inclusivity. Well, I'm tongue-tied today, guys. Diversity, acknowledges the individual skill set, aptitude, and work ethic. And ML Jones is not the only company out there that is doing this. I am proud of our construction industry. I'm proud of our companies, whether they are a competitor or they are of a different trade. They truly, we are united in wanting to provide a career pathway to your students. The students that graduate from college, most of them, let's say they graduate from a business school, 10,000 of them. For those 10,000 that graduate, there's probably going to be what, 5,000 to 8,000 positions open. Let's say there's 10,000 students graduating from high school. There's 100,000 positions waiting for them. And we need help filling those 100,000 positions.
All right, thank you. Paullei, does anybody have any additional questions for Paullei at ML Jones? Anything that she said, if you think of it later, you can email Kara and Kara can get the information to me, or however we want to do that. So next, I am proud to say that we have Meg the Losen, the Senior Strategy Analysis with InfoTech, Incorporated, based out of Gainesville, Florida. She will present today on key business processes and skills for success. Before I hand the mic over, I'm going to give her just a little bit of an introduction. She started with InfoTech in 2001 and is focused on strategy, business development, market research, and new product development. InfoTech specializes in providing software and services to manage infrastructure programs and projects. Meg has focused primarily on services that help contractors and consults do business with public sector agencies more easily and efficiently, including internet bidding, prompt payment verification, and construction administration products and services. Meg holds an undergraduate degree from Georgetown University and an MBA from the University of California, Berkeley. In addition to her work at InfoTech, she is also the co-founder and co-manager of a craft brewery that opened in 2014 and is located in Gainesville. So Meg is new to our workforce development in AGC of Oklahoma, and so we are so proud that we are a new partnership with InfoTech. And Meg, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jacqueline and Kara and everybody else for organizing this and for giving me the opportunity to participate. I was really excited about this and to listen to everyone and then hopefully contribute a little bit from the software side of things. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to dive right in. Everybody see that hopefully? Okay. So again, my name is Meg the Losen. I'm going to just go ahead and get it right out there. That is the correct spelling of my last name. I married into it. It gets distracting, so I just thought I'd address that now. Nothing special about it in terms of what it indicates. It's just a very strange spelling that I married into. So anyway, I am going to focus today actually on the construction contract life cycle. So it actually sort of picks up a little bit of the themes from both Jacqueline and Paullei around really things that are, we are not builders. We're not tradesmen at InfoTech. We are software engineers and service providers, but we are very deeply involved, and I'll share more information about that with working with agency owners and contractors and consulting engineers that do the construction. And we believe that the construction contract lifecycle is sort of the constant framework through which we're all sort of going in and out with the services and the expertise that we try and provide. And when preparing for this, I realized that really there are some key business processes and skills that I hope will resonate with this group of educators and instructors. So the objectives today are definitely, again, to just kind of share an understanding of these key business processes that are the basis of the project lifecycle, and really just make the point that in the middle of many changing variables, that contract lifecycle really is a constant. And then definitely to identify as best I'm able some of the core skills for success, almost regardless of the changes that are constantly happening on the job site and with technology for the job site. So I'll continue on there. And real quickly, just to share a little bit more about who InfoTech is. InfoTech is a provider, again, of software for both agency owners and construction firms and consulting engineering firms to help them manage the entire life cycle. Again, we'll get into that a little bit more, and to do business more efficiently and to actually hopefully quote unquote, do more with less, so that those folks that are the experts in their fields can work more efficiently and not get bogged down as much often in paperwork and things like that. And that's a large area of focus for our systems. InfoTech's been around for 40 plus years. It was founded in the 1970s. And a very quick aside that I thought this group might appreciate is it was actually two professors that founded the company in the early 70s. They were focused on, they were statistics and economic models that could prove collusive or anti-competitive behavior in public sector markets. They built some models that could be used by public agencies to prove that in public procurement situations, there might be some anti-competitive behavior. That brought them ultimately, after a couple contracts and things like school milk contracts and being involved in cases like that, they ended up working with the Florida AG on some contracts in the early 70s when the interstate system was really getting a lot of money flowing into it, and the AG wanted to make sure that that they were keeping an eye on the bidding behavior. And so these two, the founders of our company, who are still both involved, worked with the AG and had some landmark cases there that they were contributed to with their models and expertise. That led them to realize that they were doing all of that analysis for years, that was taking paper data that was on paper, and having to just go through that. So they realized that there was definitely the need for these large construction projects and programs to move some of that data into to digitize it and to make it easier for ultimately the data analysis and everything else that would need to be done. So today there's over 350 employees. We are still based in Gainesville, Florida, home of the Florida Gators. Please don't hold that against me. I'm literally right down the street from University of Florida. We also have Santa Fe College, which is a really amazing local community college that is very heavily involved in construction industry and workforce development and doing fabulous work. Real quickly, again, just to show where we work, we now at this point have we are focused, our history is most deep with departments of transportation. So largely horizontal construction, road and bridge construction, and the software to help them manage those massive programs. So we now, our customers are all but, as you can see, a handful of state DOTs that still build their own systems and manage their own systems. Otherwise, every other state and their DOT that you see here colored in is using one of our systems, if not multiple. We have since then moved into some other non-DOT work, which I'll move into highlighting Oklahoma, because it's been really, really fun to grow and expand within Oklahoma. We've been working with the Oklahoma DOT probably since the 80s, or maybe early 90s, again, on their DOT program management, and consistently we're just working with them every year. We then started working with the Turnpike Authority in the early 2000s. And then again, most recently, which fortunately has brought us to this AGC, which we've so much enjoyed partnering with, is we started working. We made a strategic shift to start seeing what we might be able to contribute with our systems and in vertical construction, not just horizontal DOT type work. So we started working in other states as well, but also in Oklahoma in their construction and properties division over at OMES. That has gone very well, and they've really started working with us very heavily the summer of 2019. 18-19. And then since then we now have Grand River Dam Authority. Oklahoma County is one of our most recent customers, and Canadian County is actually just getting started with us as well. So again, we're starting to really branch out beyond the DOT, and it's been really fun to work with new partners such as this AGC. So I wanted to set the context a little, and actually this pulls a little bit from what Paullei was mentioning around construction technology. We are in the construction technology field, obviously in software development, but it can be dizzying. I mean, the amount, if you pick up any industry publication or even just general press, pretty much any day you will see articles about the advancements and investments going into really exciting technologies, drones, sensors, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, in many of the things that Paullei mentioned. And that is because there's always, remains this large opportunity to increase efficiency through the use of technology, as well as more safety, transparency, all sorts of great shared goals between all the stakeholders, but it can be a little bit overwhelming because it's moving so quickly. At the same time, on the agency side, they're also definitely always looking for innovation. Again, these are our primary customers in terms of the DOT public agencies, and now outside of DOTs with local public agencies, cities, counties, and some other state construction facilities or facilities construction departments. They are certainly always also looking to innovate for the same reasons in terms of efficiency and auditability, better data management, all those things that we as taxpayers and citizens want to see improvements around. They have to move at a slightly different pace than the private sector because they have different, budget constraints and things like that. But they are definitely always, and we partner with them to see where we can hopefully align and help them in that journey. So I really wanted to focus though for this group in terms of instructors and working with young people or folks transitioning in careers that might hopefully find an interest in construction, that either on the agency owner side or on the private sector side. We really actually, whenever we step back from the day-to-day, and this really drives our day-to-day, is that even in the midst of all this constant changing landscape of technology and every other variable, the contract life cycle is really foundational. And we've seen literally over our 40+ years that this basic framework does not change a lot. Changes on the edges, of course, but it remains pretty stable. And my hope today is that with this group of instructors and professionals in this area that, you hopefully this isn't redundant, but I would hope that this type of putting some of the more specific skills and trades in the context of this for your students, I would hope would be helpful, because again, it's always helpful for us even to step back and remember that at the end of the day, the contract life cycle remains fairly the same. So I won't, in the interest of time, I won't go into way too much detail, but we don't work in planning and design in terms of our services. There's lots of other great companies that focus on that. But generally speaking, projects start in that planning and design phase, where agencies and owners have to work on their long-term plans, prioritize projects, and decide which ones then they send into design. In design, that's where software packages like Autodesk, Bentley, lots of other long-standing specialized packages are focused. We usually, specifically InfoTech and our customers, we sort of pick up the ball in this estimate phase, which is a really important stage, obviously, because once the project's designed by architects and engineers, the ability to actually take those items and quantities and build reliable estimates is really, really important. And that takes a really, unique skill set to really be excited about diving into, whether it's bid-based data or cost-based data, and hopefully, do the work to reassure whether it's a private sector owner or a public sector agency that project that they're preparing for bid is actually going to hopefully come in close to the estimate. Then it moves into bid. There is a lot that goes on in the bid stage. We're very deeply involved with our software systems, and it's a really strong area for us because there's so much really important workflow that's time sensitive. The data is sensitive. It's really the bread and butter of when agencies are going to see what bids they receive and how many bids, how competitive it is. And it's the bread and butter, obviously, for the contracting firms to see what's out there and can they build a successful, hopefully profitable bid for new work. So agencies have to really, wrap their head around, and owners, it's not just the items and quantities that they put out. They have to, there's all sorts of terms and conditions. There's all sorts of legalese that to make a complete bid package that protects all the stakeholders, it can be fairly complex to get that ready to go. Then they have to put it out on the street for bid and then receive the bids. Again, it often in our world, especially with public sector agencies, is a really time and data sensitive process to receive those bids and make sure that nothing gets screwed up, because the last thing you want is, some sort of problem when you're receiving sealed bids. And then they ultimately award the job. On the private sector side, really important work by the contractors, by the firms. Usually within the office, they need to be scanning all available places for the pipeline of work that's coming out, trying to identify what makes sense for them to bid on. And then they have to build the teams, which can be increasingly difficult in this really tight labor market. So building a good team that you can hopefully rely on year after year becomes really important. And then ultimately working with your office team to prepare and submit that bid that needs to be responsive to all those terms and conditions. And hopefully also at the same time, have some profit in it. Otherwise, what's the point of being in that business? So anyway, the build section, once it gets out onto the job site and it's awarded to the contractor, there's so much work. Obviously, we, again, are not the builders, but our systems are used because there's so much daily work that has to go into tracking everything that's going on the job site, both by the agency, again, with us public sector agencies, they have to track every day, every level of detail in terms of their daily reports around items, quantities, equipment, personnel. Similarly, the contractors have their teams that have to be tracking it, because at the end of the day, progress and payments have to be moving through, and the different parties have to agree on the work that's being done and that can be paid out. And then if you get into the public sector side, there's all sorts of stuff that I've put in parentheses here around subcontractor tracking, payment verification on time, prompt payment is big. Things like labor compliance are really, really important for public agencies. And ultimately things can be audited by federal agencies if there's federal funds. So that record keeping, it's not very exciting to some people, but it's really, really important. And to some people it is really exciting because it's so important. So that's in the build phase. And then ultimately that data will feed into an asset management system, which also is very important. So, okay. So this, as I step back to think about the key skills, this may be a little bit anticlimactic, but it shouldn't be, I don't think, because it's really, really important. Again, I feel like it pulls on some of what Paullei was talking about, that it's not just the hard skills, it's really wrapping around some of these basic, not even basic, but just really important other skills for success. I'm happen to be married to someone whose family business for 60 years is roof and floor trusses, and for multifamily and commercial. So I know firsthand with him when he's trying to hire, when he's constantly trying to hire, that these are the types of skills that are just as important as the ability to actually construct something. And if you can pair these types of really important skills with knowledge of a technology or with a specific skill that is of interest, then the opportunities for success within a private sector firm or on the agency side are really, really significant. So lastly, I'll just wrap up with the key takeaways again that I just was hoping would make sense for this discussion today, is that contract lifecycle, I believe for all of us, is always important to go back to and understand, because especially for new students that might be looking, or individuals of any sort that are looking to consider the life cycle, a construction job, having that framework and that context, I think really sets them up to at least understand a little bit more about their particular role. And then each business area certainly offers, in that estimate, bid, build, there's an enormous amount of career opportunity in each one of those if you want to specialize. And then obviously the ability to collaborate and communicate across that life cycle is super valuable in terms of career path, because that allows you to become a manager, owner, that type of thing. And then lastly, ironically, because we are a technology firm, technology is important, but it's just a small piece. Being able to keep an eye on technology and willing to try it, and especially when it's so much easier today than it used to be to try new technology and measure it. If students have that mindset and compare that with those other skills that I mentioned on the previous slide, there's so much opportunity. Those are the types of people we, even on the software side, are always looking to hire. Thank you. I hope that wasn't too long.
Thank you, Meg. I don't see any questions in the chat. Does anybody have any other questions? That's an attendee question. If not, we'll keep on rolling here. Again, thank you, Meg. And our final speaker today is Jody Vivion. He's the Business Development Manager at Flintco in the Tulsa office. He is a Tulsa native. He graduated from, I might butcher this, Cassica Hall and attended Oklahoma State University, where he received his undergrad in construction management technology and later received his master's in business administration from OSU Tulsa. He's been married to his wife Jill for 12 years and has 2 children, Jocelyn, who's 6.5, and James, who's 4.5. Now that we know a little bit about Jody, he's going to now tell us about Flintco. I'm sure all of you have heard of Flintco Construction Company and careers in the construction management industry. So Jody, take it away.
Jacqueline, thank you very much, and thank you for having me here today. I will share my screen right here. Hopefully everyone can see it. So Flintco, going to start with just a brief overview, just in case if folks aren't familiar with Flintco, and then I'm going to get into the opportunities in construction management. So Flintco, we were started here in Tulsa 113 years ago. I'm not going to go over each timeline items, but to the latest and greatest updates is we do have our Flintco Industrial and Flintco Aviation sectors. So we've got 8 offices across the nation that we will get into if it allows me to go to the next page. There we go. All right. So some of the markets that we do cover: aviation, education, K through 12, education, higher ed. You see the list there. I would definitely say our Tulsa office really focuses on the education, K through 12, higher ed, and healthcare. Those are definitely our bread and butter here in town, but we do dabble in all of it when the projects come along. And then nationwide, these are what we focus on. As I mentioned, we do have 8 offices nationwide: Albuquerque, Denver, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Springdale, Memphis, Austin, and Houston. So we continue to grow, and then definitely construction, as everyone's been talking about, it's in high demand, and the careers are just never ending, which is great. So few notable projects, anchor projects that I'm just going to click through. Won't be talking about each one, but we'll click through a handful of them. These are some of our larger projects. Flintco does smaller projects. We actually just finished up a $700,000 renovation of the Arvest Bank in downtown Tulsa, and then our average project size is about 8 million. I'll go back to, and they go up all the way up to about here 700 million for the Devon Tower in downtown Oklahoma City. So this was actually my first project I was on personally as an intern, and then a project engineer. Finished up the West End Zone phase 3, and then we did the other phases as well. So this is one of our industrial projects. We continue growing more and more in that industrial and aviation sector. And I'm clicking through these quite quick, just for the fact I know we want to get to the careers and education aspect. So technology has been touched on quite a bit today, but I'd like to further discuss it, how Flintco uses it. That middle section there, that virtual design and construction, we've got our own group under our construction support services that focuses on virtual design and construction. So we'll take those BIM models that were mentioned earlier. We'll work with the architect and truly just build them digitally. We build them on the computer before we ever put a shovel in the ground and start moving dirt. So that helps us discover any clash detections early in the field, so we can make those modifications before the work starts getting put in place. So that virtual design and construction uses drones. Construction site is one of our software services we use that really documents the construction as it goes on, and helps with as-built conditions for the end user at the end of the project. Lean 2.0 is a kind of a revamped or trademarked process utilizing lean construction. So it's really what we focus on to be more efficient. As people have noted on the call, the labor pool it continues to decrease as the baby boomers and the more senior folks begin to retire. So we do need to fill their spots and like they mentioned earlier, get some good training for them. But with that comes reduced productivity. And so our Lean 2.0 that we use on all of our projects now really helps that efficiency and close that gap, and ensuring that we are extremely productive and efficient with our time. Flintco for Life is a life standing live incident free every day. It's our new policy that we enacted probably about 7-8 years ago, and it's really a culture change for safety within Flintco. No longer do we man projects by a policy saying, hey, you can't do that because it's against the policy. It's more, hey, you can't do that because it's unsafe and we want to send you home to your kids, your wife and kids, and make sure you go home in one piece. So it's holding each other accountable, not just because it's a policy thing, but it's the right thing to do. Talked about a few of the technology items that we use, and they've been discussed as well. This picture in the bottom right is pretty neat. It's a drone flight, but also overlaid over the structural drawing, so you can see the grade beams and the footings throughout. What we use this technology for, which is great, is you can really see, hey, well, wait a second, you know, we're missing a footing there. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what's going on. So technology definitely has helped a ton, and it also is just an additional way for students to get involved. Someone who really enjoys computer software development, they have a way to get into construction and don't necessarily have to go through a construction management or construction science degree, which on that I should be segueing into, if it unfreezes, there we go, careers in construction. So here's 5 items that we've noted as ways to get into at least Flintco, and there's plenty of others, I'm sure, but one way is an intern. That's typically for the folks that have gone to trade school or in a 4-year degree. We get them when they're in their or even high schoolers as well. We'll get them early, start teaching about construction. And on the next slide, you'll see that's about the paid interns that we have get paid about $18 an hour, which I would have loved to have gotten paid that when I was going through. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But we take those interns, and then from there, they get to choose either a field route, which would be the superintendent, or an office route, which is project manager. The next one, that CSS, construction support services, is really where the BDC, quality assurance and quality control folks live in Lean 2.0 personnel. So that's an arm that really is the team behind the team that supports our on-site personnel that's on-site daily, working with the clients and architects. As I mentioned, project manager and superintendent earlier, the project manager is that office route and the superintendent is the field route. So you'll have some folks that really enjoy being out and about, being in the field, working on the day-to-day with the trade partners and subcontractors. And then you have some others bent more towards that office admin, organization, meetings that really can help that side of the project go along. Skilled tradesmen is another way that we at Flintco hire on. It's folks that go to VOTEC school or have been brought up in the trades, have learned carpentry from their grandpa, from their father, and just really know and love working with their hands. We'll bring them in from the laborer side and then slowly teach them blueprint reading, how to manage a job. And most of the time, those folks will go on the superintendent side because they grew up in the field, enjoy it. And we have had a few that after a while on the superintendent side will transition into project management. So those are the career opportunities that I know at Flintco. And again, there's other opportunities. Obviously, Flintco has behind the scenes careers as far as accounting, HR, many other important aspects that really make the boat float and steer the boat in the right direction. So here's some salary information that we like to share with different career fairs. As I said, our interns make about $18 an hour, and then also get some stipends and per diems depending on where they live in the project description. Here's some average salaries that we've seen across the industry, and again, they're rising more and more as that demand continues to increase. Owner's representative or an owner's rep is a different entity on a project. Normally, they're kind of the go-between between us as a construction manager and our client. Just another set of eyes and ears on the project to make sure everything's going in the right direction. Here's the career ladders that we have at Flintco. We have them separated into 3 different categories: pursuit, construction support services, and operations. I know it's probably hard to see, so I'll zoom in a bit on each one. On the pursuit side, that's actually where I'm at now. That second manager should actually say director. So we have 2 steps in that business development. Then you have your estimating folks, the guys that bid the projects, and then marketing. I mean, I know I could not do anything that I do without my marketing manager here in Tulsa. They work magic with the proposals and everything that they do. Construction support services, we've mentioned earlier, that's our BDC, our quality control and assurance folks, and scheduling. And then lastly, what makes up about 80% of our Tulsa office is the operations folks, the project managers, superintendents, and our safety personnel. So many different career ladders, and even within, you know, I was on the operations side for 11 years prior to making the transition right before a global pandemic, which makes business development a little fun and entertaining. But so I was on operations for 11 years. In the last 18 months, I've been in business development. So that concludes my presentation. Would love to answer any questions if you have any, and I will stop sharing now. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jody. If you guys have any questions for Jody, you can reach out to Kara or myself, and we can direct those to him. And like you said, if you're interested or you have students interested in maybe hitting a career path with an internship with Flintco in that Tulsa area, just let me know, and I can get you guys to the right people. Before we move on with this, I just wanted to plug in one more thing about us. If you guys are ever interested in having a personal job site tour with your students, if you're thinking you'd like to have a day where you go out and you see a job site in the Tulsa, Oklahoma City area, you can get with me at the AGC. You'll get my information through Kara later on. And we can schedule that where you go out, see a job site tour, you go to the corporate office, lunch is on the construction company, and it's a great way to introduce you and maybe some of your students to the industry in a more private one-on-one setting with just your classmates. So, all right, Kara, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. That's an excellent offer. What a great lineup today. I think they've given us all something to think about. Before we wrap up for the day, we are excited to be able to offer 2 gift card drawing winners. And now Jacqueline will announce the names of our winners.
Okay, our first gift card winner is LaQuisha Jackson from Union Public Schools. And then our second gift card winner is Bonnie Wood from Western Heights High School.
Congratulations, ladies. You'll be receiving your gift card in the mail soon. Thank you so much to the Associated General Contractors, Jaclynn Gray. I also see that your Chief Executive Officer, Doug Tapp, is on here today.
Yes.
So welcome, Doug. Additionally, thank you to our guests, Paullei Tanner, Meg the Losen, Jody Vivion, and for presenting today. We appreciate your construction industry expertise and years of experience, as well as their support of Career Tech. In addition, if you have any questions regarding Career Tech and careers or certifications in the trades, please feel free to contact our Trade and Industrial Education Division, also called TNI. Karen has posted our TNI State Program Administrator, John Day's contact information in the chat, and he can answer your question or get you to the right person. And it just so happens that I noticed that John and one of his specialists, Mitchell Thomas from the TNI division, are on here today. So give us a wave, John Day and Mitchell Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anybody from your group, John?
No, that's the only 2 of us that were able to be on this today.